What if GTA 6 sucks? In the first part of this two-part series, we took a deep dive into Rockstar's finances and showed how GTA 6 could be costing them $2 billion to make. But what if it fails? What if Rockstar missed the mark? Now, I don't think they'll get it wrong. I think they'll deliver the best game ever made. However, it is a possibility. And stay tuned to the last point of this video because, well, it may shock you. But first, we need to explore the concept of Rockstar getting it wrong, and how it would even be possible. I mean, this is Rockstar, right? Well, over the years, Rockstar have lost a lot of their core employees, and the very essence of Rockstar should still be there, but of course we can't guarantee that. Since the early 2000s, a large part of the core vision for the Grand Theft Auto franchise came from Leslie Benzies, which is something we spoke about in part 1 of this series. With Leslie Benzies now being the founder of Build a Rocket Boy Games, working on games such as Mind's Eye, and Dan Houser off doing his own project, this leaves only 2 of the original 4 at the wheel, with Sam Houser as a lead vision and Aaron Garbett as the art designer for the game. So this could set unprecedented changes in motion internally within Rockstar, with 6,000 additional voices and ideas from their employees. But also, this isn't a $100 million self-funded game. This is a $1 to $2 billion project backed and funded by investors such as BlackRock, JP Morgan Chase, etc. What this actually means is that Take-Two and Rockstar can't do anything to jeopardize what the investors want. Or they can, but it could risk the project financially. Whether that's political alignments, narrative, or not spoofing topics that were caused or linked to investors of these various large investment firms, it's hard to say. But overall, they're going to have to be very conscious of the fact that their finances are being provided by a third party. Now, of course, with previous Grand Theft Auto games, this was the case, but there wasn't as much at stake with the previous Grand Theft Auto games. Rockstar today is around 13 times bigger than they were when GTA 5 was in development. All of this also ties into the way that Rockstar have changed their monetization strategies. Previously, the success of a game, financially at least, came down to a simple measurement: how many copies were sold. However, with GTA 5, following the success of the online component of the game, Rockstar made a huge pivot in the way that they monetize their games, even offering the base game for free a few years back on the Epic Games Store, just to get people hooked on the game in the prediction that players will spend money on shark cards. This is a very universal strategy now. It's very similar to the way that Fortnite get players hooked in, and overall this is exactly how brands like Apple work as well, bringing people into their ecosystem in the hope that they'll continue spending on software. This has set a worrying precedent for the future of Rockstar. Gone are the days where we buy a game and enjoy it, and welcome to the era of pay to play and pay to win. But with Rockstar's enormous overheads, they're really going to have to push microtransactions within the game for GTA 6, which of course some people may not like, myself included, but unfortunately there is no denying that Rockstar cannot survive off game sales alone. Which brings me to the next topic. Rockstar will likely be way less edgy in GTA 6. Now, I've covered this before and a lot of people got upset in the comment section, but if Rockstar aren't becoming less edgy, why did they cut content out of GTA 5? Why did Dan Houser talk about not working on GTA 6 a few years ago due to the topics being too divisive, with militant and angry left and right sides of the political spectrum, which the divide over time has only got bigger. The world isn't more edgy now than it was 5 years ago. Then of course we have the 2018 and 2019 internal investigations, which resulted in Rockstar turning down its edgy humour and internal frat boy culture. Look, I don't think Rockstar's going to go too soft, but the fact is, they have these insane graphics and huge world to tell a story. I don't think humour needs to be as much of a crutch as it was in older GTAs, and now the humour can just be a complement to the story. Now this brings us to what can actually happen if the game does flop. But before we get to that part of the video, I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Any help you can give to help me get there is massively appreciated. Thank you for all your support. So, if GTA sucks, what will happen? Firstly, initial game sales will cover the development cost of the game. $2 billion in pre-orders and week 1 sales will be a breeze for Rockstar. This is the most hyped game ever. However, these initial sales are only part of the story. Rockstar's relying on people purchasing the game 2 to 3 times. Firstly for console, then for PC on the PC release, then for next gen consoles over the next 5 to 10 years. So if the game does suck for any of the reasons we mentioned earlier, that will have a knock-on effect for the future financing for the game, whether that be DLC, whether that be future content, you get the overall idea. And this brings us to the big problem. This game could do 2 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion in the first week. However, if the general consensus from the community is that the game is flawed or it sucks to any capacity, the media will get hold of that information. Take-Two Interactive stock price will plummet. An example of this is with Cyberpunk 2077. The 3 days following release, their stock price took a chaotic dive into oblivion. You hear it all the time, major corporations going out of business, and sometimes it would appear like this comes out of nowhere. Well, for the most part, with publicly trading companies, the domino effect starts with shareholders pulling out their cash from the business. So for the most part, the stock market can have a huge play in it and is usually the catalyst for future events. Let me give you a hypothetical situation. GTA 6 comes out. For some reason it's buggy or the community won't like it for whatever reason. The media spends weeks and months talking about issues with the game. Maybe notable people condemn the game. Investment firms will pull their stock out of Take-Two Interactive for fear of stock price falling. Whether it has or hasn't, if they predict it will start to fall, that's usually when investors will pull their funds out of the business. And this is a very common misunderstood thing about the gaming industry and the stock market in general and how they're linked together. These investors do look at the news, they do look at what's going on in the world, and they make calculated decisions based on what they think could or could happen to a share price. Whether the price goes up or down isn't just dependent on how well a game sells, it's dependent on the whole general consensus on whether the game is going to continue going up or down. This would then further drive the share price lower despite the game selling billions of dollars worth of copies. And just like that, Take-Two Interactive's core funding is wiped out. $2 billion of sales for GTA 6 won't keep Rockstar or Take-Two Interactive afloat for very long at all. That's where we'll start to see things like redundancies, and you know how it goes. They're usually the first couple of steps of this domino effect. And if you do see Rockstar making staff redundant after the game's release, please do not worry. That does not mean that anything's going wrong. That's usually because a lot of the core development staff won't be needed as their core job was developing the game. They won't be keeping on 6,000 plus employees long term. This happened following the release of GTA 5, it happened following the release of GTA 4, and so on and so forth. So to summarise, I don't think GTA 6 will suck, but I do think a lot of people could be disappointed based on some of the things we've seen from the community in terms of what people want to see in the game. I've seen some very wild predictions that overall would make me very surprised if they were to feature in the game. But overall, personally, I think the game will be exactly what we think it will be. The best game ever made. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, and a massive thank you to all of my channel members up in the top right hand side of the screen. If you did enjoy today's video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one. Spin the cylinder, push it to my head.